Good morning to you, most distinguished attendees and panelists. We are just awaiting the arrival of our Vice Chancellor. She's just about 5 minutes away. So as soon as she gets here, we will begin in about 5 minutes. Thank you so much for your patience and good morning. It's a wonderful morning today. Thank you for being here.
morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming out today and being a part of our launch. So to start things off, I'd like us all to take a moment to recite the National Pledge. I pledge myself to honor always the flag of Guyana and to be loyal to my country, be obedient to the laws of Guyana, to love my fellow citizens, and to dedicate my energies towards the happiness and prosperity of Guyana.
Honorable Minister Dr. Vidya Prasad, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, University of Guyana's 11th Vice Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohammed Martin, members of the University of Guyana Senior Management Team, Registrar Dr. Nigel Gravesandi, Deputy Registrar Dr. Veloza, Assistant Registrar for Student Welfare, Ms. Danielle King, Mr. Jafar Gibbons, President of the UGSS, Mr. Charles Prawn, in-country representative of UNICEF Guyana and Suriname, Ms. Patricia Gittens, our UNICEF focal point person to the University of Guyana, deans, in particular, the Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, Dr. Paulette Henry, Assistant Deans, particularly Mrs. Dion Frank, Faculty of Social Sciences, heads, in particular, Head of Department of Sociology, Social Work Unit, Mr. Andrew Hicks, coordinators, in particular, Mrs. Debbie Hopkinson and Mrs. Chanel Smith-Eno, postgraduate and undergraduate coordinators, respectively, Department of Sociology. All valued members of the Department of Sociology, Social Work Unit, both at Turkine and Tain, with special recognition of Mrs. Barbara Thomas Kohler, a stalwart in the field of social work, members of the Student Social Work Association Guyana Executive Team, members of the Department of Events, Conferences, and Communications, members of PACE, to all distinguished invitees, members of the media, and those in attendance, especially to our current members and prospective members, a pleasant good morning to you all. We do apologize for the late start. At this time, we wish to give you an official welcome to the launch of the University of Guyana's Student Social Work Association Guyana, given the acronym SWAG, under the theme, Creating Social Change Now, creating a harmonized approach to effective and efficient social work service. Today, Friday, November 19th, 2021. I am one of your moderators, Ms. Rochelle Matthias, final year social work student and treasurer of the Student Social Work Association Guyana. Serving alongside me is
Noel Jondu, a final year student of social work and representative from Tain for the SWAG.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jondu. First on the agenda is the opening remarks by Vice Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohammed. Professor Paloma Mohammed is the 11th Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana. She is a full professor of behavior and communications. However, she is not here, so before we take the opening remarks, we will go to the next item, and I will ask Mr. Jondu to introduce our speaker until we await Professor Mohammed.
Good morning, everyone. So we have some remarks today by none other than Dr. Nigel Gravesandi. Now, Dr. Nigel Gravesandi is an organized, analytical, and competitive professional with approximately 3 decades of experience at executive and senior levels in tertiary education, public, diplomatic, and private sector. He has a wide range of experience in both tertiary education and international economic relations. Dr. Graves Andy truly possesses considerable experience in both tertiary education and international economic relations. Indeed, because of his proven track record at the local, regional, and international levels in providing sustainable solutions to complex and challenging problems, particularly in tertiary education sector in the region, the University of Guyana is honored to have him, an alumnus of the university, as its registrar. Join me in giving a warm virtual welcome to Dr. Nigel Graves-Andy.
I believe it is necessary to acknowledge the presence of some very distinguished persons who are part of this historic ceremony and launch. I wanted to, first of all, acknowledge the partnership that the university and the Department of Sociology would have effected with His Excellency, the resident representative of UNICEF to both Guyana and Suriname. I wanted to acknowledge the presence of the Cooperative Republic's distinguished Minister of Human Services and Social Security and alumni of the University of Guyana, Dr. Vindhya Prasad, members of the Department of Sociology, members of this new organization, the leadership provided by the faculty under Dr. Paulette Henry, and all those who are making this historic occasion a worthwhile experience. Allow me to, from the very onset, indicate that today's launch is coming at a historic moment of the university's history as we approach our 60th anniversary as Guyana's premier tertiary institution. And in the context of today's launch, it is also coming at a time when just a few weeks ago, we launched the Inclusivity, Diversity, and Access Policy at the University of Guyana, with some of the same persons scheduled to speak are here. But it's important to trace the historiography of why we are here today. 2 years ago, the class of 2019, 2020, DSC 1102, Introduction to Social Work, felt a passion that brought a phenomenal sense of self-analysis, which the students of this course shared among themselves. And that burning spirit propelled them to look towards opportunity for a harmonized structure and the formation of an association of students doing social work. That burning desire to organize was temporarily shelved when COVID launched its lethal attack, not only on the globe, but affected every corner of our society, resulting in some unintended social consequences that required even a greater emphasis and focus being placed by the unintended social problems that would arise as a result of COVID-19. This temporary pause, however, energized our students in this class, and further deliberations were held with the minister with responsibility for human services and social security, Dr. Vindya Prasad, in May of this year, who met with representatives, I'm advised, with the Department of Sociology and the Social Work Unit. And the idea of this association was further enhanced. Less than a month ago, in June of this year, these discussions moved to another stage with a conversation with the Ministry of Human Services and with one of the main funders, UNICEF, our own Vice Chancellor, Professor Mohammed Martin, and her indefatigable team were engaged in this conversation. And this led to the concretization of a noble and necessary attempt to forge a structured association. It is in this context of 2 years of active engagement and consideration that today we are launching this historic milestone for both the University of Guyana and the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. And I wanted to use my brief opening remarks to really congratulate the framers, the architects, and the visionaries for today's launch and the support provided both locally and internationally to bring about this reality. And as we launch today, my message as the university's registrar is to encourage the organization to press for a number of critical pathways and opportunities to ensure that your vision becomes active in the minds, hearts, and soul, primarily of the Guyanese citizenry. And therefore, in this context, I ask you to never lose focus on the need to ensure that there is the professionalization of your career and to have the population at large see you similar to the other professions that they respect, admire, and seek to emulate. Secondly, I urge that you use the opportunity of today's launch to continuously seek to self-regulate your practitioners and to ensure that they embrace the highest tenets of ethics, the highest tenets of inclusivity, and the highest tenets of a recognition of the pluralistic, diverse nature of our society, and to treat with the challenges that bring about division and have these replaced with the opportunities for unity and harmony. Thirdly, I ask that the launch help us to reflect on the need to respect for those invaluable support and the intervention that social workers play in alleviating challenges that face families, challenges that face communities, and challenges that face country. Let us do so with a human face and with compassion and replace potentials for division with opportunities for love. Fourthly, I ask that you use today's launch to provide opportunities for building networks networks locally, regionally, and internationally, with a view to ensuring that best practices in the practice of your profession is infused in every single square inch of our 83,000 square miles of territory. And finally, I hope that today's launch will propel us to ensure that advocacy becomes a hallmark of our mission, vision, advocacy that will lead to attitudinal change within our families, within our communities, and within the beloved country of ours. May God's blessing resound upon today's launch as I congratulate all those who have been partners and stakeholders, and certainly the University of Guyana lauds this opportunity to be part of a process that seeks to bring about change in our society for the betterment of our citizens. I thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nigel Graves-Andy. We are pleased to hear from you this morning, and you would have mentioned the aspect of being different as it relates to our diversities. And I am happy that you mentioned, because our logo speaks to the hands-on, it speaks to the members in their diversity and values as well. So once again, Dr. Graves-Andy, thank you for those remarks. At this time, we have with us resident representative from UNICEF, Mr. Nicholas Charles Braun. Mr. Nicholas Charles Braun is the UNICEF area representative to Guyana and Suriname, and special representative to the Caribbean community. He has been working for the United Nations since 1992. Prior to his current posting in December 2020, he served as the special advisor on high-level events, initiatives, and partnerships in UNICEF's New York headquarters from July 2018. Mr. Nicholas Braun spent many years in the field in Africa and Asia, where he oversaw the implementation of UNICEF country programs. In 2004, he was posted in New York to manage the UNICEF Data Dissemination Initiative. In 2010, he was appointed director and secretary of the UNICEF Executive Board, the organization's governing body, between September 2013 and September 2014. Mr. Braun also served as special advisor to the president of the 68th session of the General Assembly of the United Nations. Mr. Braun, over to you. Could we please give a virtual welcome as he makes his way to give his remarks at this time?
Thank you very much. I just want to make sure that you see me and you hear me correctly. You seem to be. All right. Well, thank you very much, chairpersons, and good morning to everyone. On this very auspicious International Men's Day, Honorable Dr. Vidya Prasad, Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Professor Paloma Mohammed, Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Dr. Nigel Graves-Andy, Registrar, executive and members of the Students Social Workers Association, other faculty and staff of the University of Guyana, bonjour, and congratulations to all of you. We have reached today a significant milestone in the long but important journey to build and strengthen the social workforce in Guyana. I'd like to start by thanking the university and Professor Mohammed and Ms. Hopkinson and the students for creating this students' body, which will be pivotal in contributing to your growth as a professional social worker and help to define a stronger agenda for this very noble and much needed profession. Those of you who know me must by now already know that my wife is a social worker and a psychotherapist. So I do strongly believe in the nobility and the need for social workers. Through our work with you, the university as a whole, and in partnership with the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security and the Professional Association of Social Workers, we at UNICEF seek to readily support transformative plans for this core workforce so that we can prevent, respond, and treat child violations, particularly those that relate to violence, exploitation, and abuse. We are all aware and we know that even beyond those traditional areas and in line with the development of Guyana, social workers can and have made significant contributions to development on issues such as the integration of social work in climate change, the integration of social work in energy, and the integration of social work in banking and finance. The active leadership and the vision lies with you on re-energizing and boosting the profession to create social change now. One of the most important elements of a well-functioning child protection system is a qualified social service workforce. We encourage you to learn, innovate, and lead the way, both among yourselves as student social workers, but also in collaboration with other students, whether it's in health or education, so that all of you can jointly make a bigger impact. Please allow me to also take this opportunity to thank again the university for taking preemptive steps ahead of any plans for legislative reform in reviewing its course, including at the graduate level, and in contributing to rich discussions on the issue of social work registration for Guyana. We, of course, can only commend Honorable Minister Prasad for her leadership role in igniting action for systematic planning and development of the workforce. This is definitely needed now. To all of the students, we wish you tremendous success, and we look forward to supporting you on this new platform. You can count on us. You can count on UNICEF. For every child in Guyana, protection. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prawn, for those kind and wise words. We here at SSWAG share some of the same ideals as you, and we look forward to helping both students reach their full potential through our help and the help from our partners. Now, next on our agenda, we have our very own Miss Rihanna Thomas. She is our Assistant Secretary and Treasurer here at SSWAG. Let's all give some cheers in chat for Miss Rihanna Thomas.
Good morning, everyone. I am honored to introduce our Minister, Honorable Dr. Vindhya Prasad. She is the Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Member of Parliament, and President of the Guyana Hindu Dharmic Sabha. She is a physician by profession who has worked in both the public hospital and private practice. Honorable Dr. Prasad also lectured at the University of Guyana's School of Medicine in the preclinical sciences. Over the years, she has worked integrally with many communities and developed initiatives to improve the welfare of women, youths, and the underprivileged, and has developed programs to decrease suicide, abuse, and violence, and encourage a healthy lifestyle. Honorable Dr. Vindhya Prasad is a recipient of Guyana's National Award, the Medal of Service, the Pranav Ashram Award, Canada, for Humanitarian, Social Service, and Culture, and she received an award from the East Indian Heritage Diaspora, New York, as a pioneering Caribbean woman for exemplary leadership and indomitable spirit, character, and admirable contribution to the Caribbean community of the diaspora. Once again, Honorable Dr. Vindhya Prasad.
It is a pleasure to join you today at the launching of the University of Guyana's first ever Students Social Work Association under the theme Creating Social Change Now, creating a harmonized approach to effective and efficient social work service. The social service workforce plays a central role in supporting and enhancing the well-being of children, families, and vulnerable groups by alleviating poverty, identifying and managing risks, and facilitating access to and delivery of social and protection services, including linking vulnerable persons and families to social protection and ensuring families who are in receipt of this support can access the welfare services that they need. I am cognizant that a well-developed social service workforce is key to promoting social justice, reducing discrimination, challenging and changing harmful behaviors and social norms, and preventing and responding to violence, abuse, neglect, exploitation, and family separation. Critical investments must be made to strengthen and improve our social workforce. I've held a number of deliberations with stakeholders from UNICEF and the University of Guyana to strengthen Guyana's social workforce through the creation of a Students Social Work Association. And today, I'm pleased to see this vision come to fruition. The formation of the University Students Social Work Association will bring us one step closer to enhancing our social workforce, since it will be an integral component that provides a supportive environment to empower students throughout their academic journey, paving the way to a more fulfilling university experience and professional development in preparation for future careers as social workers. This will bring about impactful changes in the field of social work after their graduation. The social work profession can only thrive if legislative framework is in place to ensure that members within our social workforce adhere to the highest standards of professionalism, values, ethics, and standards. The Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, with the support of UNICEF, is in the process of drafting a social work legislation that will ensure that the public is served competently and with the highest ethical standards. With professional regulation, the aspirational goals of the Social Work Code of Ethics will become a legal obligation with enforceable accountability for public protection, while licensure establishes requirements to demonstrate competency to practice. Social work can only be strengthened through this guiding light of social justice by bringing the importance of regulation and licensure into focus at all levels of this profession. The Ministry of Human Services and Social Security will soon create a database to register social workers and allied professionals to facilitate us in identifying all social workers in their field of practice, and also to identify their priorities in order to better serve the needs of persons. In addition to that, plans are moving apace for the development of a multi-year strategic plan social workforce. As we move ahead with strengthening social service delivery in Guyana, we must instill hope in the collective body of students who are the future of social work. We need them to feel as if they are part of a community, and we must help and support them to participate in projects which will advance the profession of social work and have them actively participate in them. It is our responsibility to prepare the next cohort of social workers to have a clear vision, a practicable strategy, and enable them to transform the social pillar into a reality for the people of this nation and push forward reforms and policy measures at the national level. Unfortunately, social work is one of the most misunderstood and underappreciated professions, and we must develop key messages and communication strategies to tackle negative perceptions regarding social work and social workers. We must enhance the image of social work, its profession, and promote the crucial roles of the social service workforce. The Ministry of Human Services and Social Security will continue to collaborate and work with all key stakeholders to strengthen the social service workforce, which is inextricably linked to the achievements of the Sustainable Development Goals that set out to improve the well-being of all persons. Congratulations, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We are very much elated to hear your remarks as they were in keeping with our theme and our visions for the SWAG committee. So once again, thank you for your remarks. At this time, we would like to hear from our Vice Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohammed. Professor Paloma Mohammed is the 11th Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana. She is a full professor of behavior and communications, noted as a futurist scholar for her work on change in both humans and human systems. She is the first woman to lead the university in its 58-year history. She is also the first woman to be appointed Vice Chancellor at any university in the Anglophone Caribbean. Professor Mohammed has led the University of Guyana's Transitional Management Committee as its second chair since August 2019. She has also been Deputy Vice Chancellor, Philanthropy, Alumni, and Civic Engagement, known as SPACE, a department which she founded in 2016. UG's 11th Vice Chancellor has worked on several multi-million-dollar multi-university research projects and has been highly successful in raising over US $50 million in less than 5 years for UG, having developed specialties in strategic energy issues, complex analysis, and high-level negotiation. Professor Paloma Mohammed has been awarded 2 presidential medals in 2012 and in 2015, as well as the City of New York Award for Culture in 2013. In 2014, she was named by the US Embassy in Guyana amongst the top 5 most influential women in the country. In 2015, she became the first woman to receive the Caribbean Laureate for Excellence in Arts and Letters Award, which is considered to be the Nobel Prize of the Caribbean. Professor Mohammed has authored over 20 books and produced 15 films, amongst many other regional and international bodies. She is a member of the Caribbean Examinations Council and also an executive board and a member of the CARICOM's Council for Social and Human Development. She is a beloved teacher and a humanist who has been variously referred to as a serpent leader and a titanium butterfly. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you at this point Professor Paloma Mohammed to give her opening remarks.
Good morning. It's really not opening remarks now, it's remarks, and I sincerely apologize for actually trying to be at a physical place. I thought this was happening on the campus as we were looking for a place to do it on campus, but I guess when it switched, I didn't recognize that. So I was trying to figure out where we were. So it's not opening remarks, but it is remarks nonetheless. And I am delighted this morning to be here. And so chairpersons, Ms. Matthias and Mr. John Doe, Honorable Dr. Pron from UNICEF, Honorable Minister from the Ministry of Social Protection, Dr. Vindi, as we like to call her, Honorable Registrar of the University of Guyana, Dr. Nigel Graves-Zandy, my DBCs, Dr. Eiffel and Professor Cummings, and other members of the senior management team who are here this morning. The Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, only the second Dean, female Dean, Dr. Paulette Henry, Mr. Andrew Hicks, other heads of departments, and a special shout out to Ms. Hopkinson, Debbie Hopkinson, who was the mover and shaker behind many of these initiatives we've been seeing in the last few months. Of course, the head of department, I said Mr. Hicks and Ms. Holder, all members who are operating this morning online and behind the scenes, as well as those who are appearing on the program, a pleasant good morning and Men's International Day to you. I wish, therefore, before I say anything more, to recognize and honor those men and males who are amongst us this morning, and to let you know that despite the fact that most people believe that men are not great and wonderful, we at the university know and believe that there are two wings that are required for the human race to fly. One is the female, one is the male. And so we recognize, honor, protect, understand, love, uplift, and appreciate you. Today is a day that allows us to actually say that in public in many ways, and we'll be doing that throughout the day. This project began several years ago, and those of you who are students or who are past students who are here this morning will remember that in 2018, Ms. Hopkinson presented to me at the time, I was a Deputy Vice Chancellor for Philanthropy. She presented to me a database of past students that is a project of one of her classes that were graduating that year, who were graduating that year. And that database was meant to help us to create our own alumni database because, as you probably know, there was no office for alumni relations in the university prior to 2017 when it was created. So she gave us that database at that time. And since then, there have been conversations about how we would be able to bring social workers together who would have already graduated to mentor, support, but also to take advantage of the things that the University of Guyana had to offer to persons who had already graduated, not only at our own university, but universities around the world, and also in the workspace, the training space, and community spaces. So this project has had a long gestation. Now I recognize that there are not only alum in the association, but it's a students association. And I think this is very special and this is very laudable. And I want you all to give yourselves a big round of applause and a pat on the shoulder and a wonderful reassuring hug, because this is not something that is easy to do, but most importantly, it is one of the few programs that I know in this Caribbean that has been able to do this. So kudos to you all. One of the things that we have also been discussing with the Minister of Social Protection in a very integral way, we've had several conversations with her. She's mentioned one of them, but up to last Saturday, we were speaking about something else to do with training. And I raised this question with her again, because one of the problems that we have had in the social work arena was, one, the recognition of degrees by certain entities of our graduates, and then also the recognition, certainly in the teaching profession, that social work was actually a degree that a person could gain a promotion from. Of course, with all of the problems that we are facing now, all of the problems that the Earth and the planet are facing are really about human beings. They are either caused by human behavior or lack of support for human behavior, but the support of life on the planet is really about the support of Homo sapiens and the species that are in that ecosystem. And so therefore, the recognition of the importance of those people who are working in the caring professions, and especially in the education arena, cannot be overstated. I say this because in COVID, when so many persons would have had to stay away from the classroom, stay away from work, have had to be isolated from their social peers and social conditions and environments and social support systems, when people begin to return in full, especially in the education sector, especially in schools, because as you know, schools serve a very important socializing role. And so if students have been out of that context for about 2 years, then when they return, we will be seeing some things that we have not seen before, and the exacerbation of some things that we have seen in the past. So there will be maladaptive behaviors, and there will be a time where we have to work really hard to resettle those students and retain a kind of relationships in the classroom between students and students, students and teachers, students and parents and teachers. So the social workers who are out there in the education system need to be recognized, need to be used, because they are trained, they know what to do. And often they are working without recognition, without remuneration. And I really want to make this call. We've also been speaking to both the Ministry of Social Protection and the Ministry of Education. And in fact, a white paper has been delivered on this matter so that we have a systematic and reasonable approach to how we will address this matter. And of course, outside of the school system, in the penal system, for instance, in communities, we really need to have more understanding of what social work is, what social workers can do, their linkages in community, their linkages to every single thing that we do. So what you're doing here is a tip of the iceberg, and it really represents the beginning of a long process of a lot of work that has to be done, but it begins, and therefore I am delighted to congratulate you. Part of the constellation of training services at the University of Guyana is, of course, social work. We have the social work degrees, the lower degrees, and then we have masters in social work. And so those persons who are thinking about it, I want to urge you that there is a future for you in social work, and you can get to the level of a PhD. Not everybody wants to do a PhD and should be doing it, but those of you who are interested, we want you to know that these are offered. But it's also offered in a constellation of other behavioral disciplines that we offer. So we offer also psychology and psychiatry. And so I want to offer you the opportunity of checking our website, checking with those persons who you know at the university to see how best you can develop. Because really development is not only about how much money and where you do it, how far you go in your actual job, but what you know and what you can bring and how you can grow in your own discipline and in your own self as an individual, but also as a professional. The University of Guyana has a blueprint that takes us to 2040. You would have heard me say this before, but I can't say it enough. So I'll say it again, that we are now in our 58th year and that our blueprint takes us to 2040. And it takes us to 2040 because we will be 75 years old in 2040. And it's not only about how old we will be, but really the blueprint is based upon a careful, systematic, and long analysis of what the university's relevance to the nation, the region, and the planet will be in the next 20 years. And so we had come up with 4 aspirational goals. And I've been talking about the first aspirational goal a lot, so I think people know it by heart now. So that first goal is 1 graduate per household. But the second goal centers around the work we do of problem solving. And that goal speaks to UG being the center of excellence for solving problems in specific areas, specific aspects of our own society, our own existence, but also the region and the planet. And one of those, of course, has to do with the creation of resilient systems, resilient human beings, and of course, social work and social workers and the caring professions, as well as the sciences, the hard sciences are in smack bang in the middle of this. The other thing that the university has been doing, but has not been getting a lot of credit for, is the fact that we've been working very quietly most times, unassumingly and without recognition, which is not that we want necessarily the recognition, but I think we need to speak about it a little bit more in communities. And there is no other program, I believe, on this campus like the social work campus, which continuously engages communities all across this country, not only for research purposes, but for their practicum, for their projects. They have been excellent and wonderful in COVID because they have been raising funds to take to flood, to places where there have been floods. They have been packing those baskets themselves. They have been manning call centers, our own university call center, which we have been working to support some government ministries. They've been working with orphanages They've been working with students. They have just been amazing and wonderful. And I think that these things have to be recognized for what they are, shouted out, applauded. And so I, as Vice Chancellor, on behalf of the entire university and our senior management team, want to do that publicly this morning and to say thank you, thank you, thank you to Ms. Holder, to Ms. Eno, to Leanne, all those people in the lecturers in that department who have been supporting students and the students who have been stepping up. Wonderful work, and thank you. There's a saying in the world, it's an African proverb, and these proverbs have a lot to offer us if we really think them through very carefully, because they're just not sayings. They're packed with meaning, and they're packed with direction and guidance if we understand and take time to think about them. And I do that from time to time. And this one came to mind to me this morning as I was thinking about what I should say to you and what would be meaningful. And part of this proverb says, the buzzing of 1,000,000 mosquitoes can make the sound of thunder. The buzzing of 1,000,000 mosquitoes can make the sound of thunder. So it does not matter if people think that social work is not that important. You know that it's important. And there are hundreds of you who have graduated from UG over the last 20 years or so. And so you are out there, you need to come together and let your voices be heard, come together, network, come together, develop the profession, develop yourselves, and most importantly, come together to make this nation well, to do the things that we are trained to do in an ethical way, in a transparent way, in a caring way, in a respectful way, and in an accountable way. The buzzing of 1,000,000 mosquitoes can make the sound of thunder. And this morning you have begun to make the sound of thunder. And I congratulate you and thank you. In closing, I cannot leave the podium this morning without acknowledging the contributions of those persons who would have started these programs. A woman called Sybil Patterson. I was a very young student on this campus, and she was an old lady when I came on this campus in the 1990s. So you remember, you know how long ago that was. But Sybil Patterson believed in social work, really, really, really. And she really was, I think, the grand dame of social work in the country. I could be wrong, and I might be corrected, but I'd like anyway to invoke the memory of Sybil Patterson this morning. I know she would be proud of Christine King, of Patrice LaFleur, of Barbara Thomas Holder, who we're very happy to have on our program this morning. And those who have carried the torch, like Monica Miller, of course, John Frank, and of course our own dean here this morning. There's several other persons, but these persons I remember as a young woman on this campus, not a social worker, but I remember their work, and I remember that they always had something going on that would involve students, involve the community, and bring practice and praxis into the academy. So ladies and gentlemen, students, honorable guests, media, all of those who are here this morning, I wish to congratulate you, thank you, and once again to wish all the men and males in this session and at the university and wider afield who are listening and who are not, a really meaningful Men's International Day, and also to those persons who are thinking of joining this association, that you should consider today and take the step tomorrow. The bigger you are, the greater the sound you can make, but not only to join the association, but also to work, because often we have a lot of social loafing taking place where only a few people are working and are carrying the load. And this is something that we causes the actual eventual atrophy of many associations. We can't leave the work on one set of people all the time. We need to figure out how to best distribute work and tasks so that everyone is involved and few are not burdened. So with that, I cannot leave you without saying, continue to be safe, continue to take all your COVID-19 precautions, continue to ensure that you are safe on the roads as well, and continue to take good care of your mental, spiritual, and physical health, and everything and everyone who is around you. May God bless you. I thank you.
Thank you, Professor Paloma Mohammed. Those were extremely kind words. And you're right, we couldn't be here today without the help of those that came before us. And I do hope, and I know we will continue moving forward to make even more thunder than we are making today. With that, we will move on to our next item, which is a poem by our very own Miss Charissa Plas.
I am a helping profession, seeking to alleviate oppression and injustices of all forms. I inform, reform, transform, changing the norms. I am a change agent, a voice for the voiceless, giving hope to the hopeless, enabling change and social development, promoting cohesion and social empowerment, bringing restoration in many variation with no discrimination. My aspiration is to enhance your capacity to function. My values are the foundation that anchors my roots, a profession built on trust and integrity, appreciating your worth and your dignity, raising an anthem of justice for all to hear. Though opposition may come, I still persevere, sealing your best interests. I invest in you. In the school of academia, with much work and dedication, pressing towards edification, building workers of great competency, strength, character, and proficiency, instilling values and skills in which they continuously build, springing forth generations that will impact the nations, educators, mediators, negotiators, initiators, activists and advocates, leaders that will rise to shift the world and its dynamics. On the building blocks of psychology and sociology, politics, economics, psychotherapy, philosophy, firmly I stand. Social work is who I am, a helping profession, seeking to alleviate oppression and injustices of all forms. I inform, reform, transform, changing the norms. I am a change agent.
Social work is who I am, and social work is who we are here at SWAG too. So beautiful words by Mr. Charissa Plas. Next on our schedule, we have some remarks by none other than Mr. Andrew Hicks, Head of Department of Sociology. Now, Mr. Hicks is a full-time lecturer at the University of Guyana in the Department of Sociology, where he serves as the head of Department of Sociology. Currently, he is a final candidate PhD in Criminology and Criminal Justice at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus, Trinidad and Tobago. Prior to his work at UG, Mr. Hicks served as peer education coordinator and family health counselor at the Guyana Responsible Parenthood Association. In 2005, he was awarded a scholarship by the United Nations and was admitted to the United Nations mandated University for Peace in Costa Rica, where he read for a Master's of Arts degree, specializing in gender sociology and peace building. He is also a recipient of the Graduate Diploma in Social Policy Design and Management from the Inter-American Institute for Social Development, Washington, D.C. Let's all come together to welcome Mr. Andrew Hicks to our virtual podium.
Thank you very much. co-chair. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position to use video. And so please accept my explanation for that inability at this time. I'd like to recognize, in addition to our respective co-chairs, our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Mohammed, the Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vidya Prasad, the representative of UNICEF, Mr. Nicholas Orr, other colleagues within the university community, in particular the dean and other members of faculty within the Faculty of Social Sciences, other members of the senior management team that includes the registrar and other deans of faculty. I am extremely pleased to be associated with the launch of this association this morning. The University of Guyana Students Social Work Association. The launching of this activity forms part of the work plan of the Department of Sociology, but in particular, emerging out of the social work unit within our department and within the wider construct of the agenda for teaching and learning at our university under the leadership of our distinguished Professor Mohammed. I believe that the establishment of this organization is timely. And I draw those reflections as I am inspired by a statement offered in 1974 by the Chinese geographer Yai Fi Tun, who wrote, and I quote, "Without self-understanding, we cannot hope for enduring solutions to environmental problems, which are fundamentally human problems." Geographer Tun is also credited as one of the pioneers in the emergence of environmental sociology and a significant contributor to the newly evolving specialization of ecological social work and environmental sociology. I say that to say that Guyana as a nation is currently on the forefront in its environmental activism, recognizing that as we launch into the expansion of our hydrocarbon economic activities, there remain the necessity for us to care our environment. And so it is with this consciousness that Guyana is seeking to realign itself in terms of mobilizing and leading global environmental activism. This charge requires operatives in the field of social work, our educators, practitioners, students, and other aligned or allied social work interlocutors to connect the 3 C's for environmental care, the 3 cons for environmental care, and that is being able to establish conceptions, connections, and contestinations. If we are to save the world, the focus is on saving people and enhancing livelihoods. The social work profession, in all of its nobility, has a key role in this dispensation. And so whether we talk about consumption and materialism, whether we talk about money markets or the hydrocarbon markets, whether we talk about technology and science, population and development, or human justice, the social work professional is an important interlocutor in this process and the processes of human development. The management of our national environment is of key importance to all of us in the social work profession. And so I'm pleased that the Department of Sociology through the Social Work Unit is offering an opportunity, an early opportunity for our social work students at the University of Guyana to engage in the required advocacy, in the required connections that will help us to mobilize and save and preserve our environment. Through this organization, there is an excellent opportunity for us to connect to the required values, personal and national, that will support ecological management and environmental preservation. And in our quest to support ecological management, environmental preservation, and to engender environmental leadership, we must be inclusive. And so the principles and practices of inclusionary democracy is a relevant value and skill that we will all obtain through engagement and involvement in the University of Guyana Social Work Students Association. If we are to work to save our environment and to contribute globally to the accrued values it is important that we be inclusive in our organization. And so there is a connection between inclusive practices, inclusive democratic practices, and environmental management. And so this organization gives to us an opportunity to embrace the core competencies that associate with the social work profession. This organization will provide us with an opportunity to redefine and to innovate newer practices in terms of social work, field training, newer practices in environmental and organizational management. And so through this organization, we will have opportunities to explore our own contestations that surrounds the ethical values of the practice and profession of social work. You have an opportunity to use your individual and your collective wisdom to propose collaborative initiatives that will enjoin the leadership that the university is expected to give, and in fact has been giving in the processes of realigning our students and citizens as environmental activists. You're expected to be creative. And so again, through inclusive practices, you can nurture, you can harness the innovative competencies of the members of your organization, and therefore give the university an opportunity to shine even brighter. Through this organization, you'll be expected to engage in participatory planning, to engage in participatory management. And these are areas of knowledge. These are requisite areas in terms of values that are important if we are to win and overcome the challenge, so that we can collect the challenge of collectively mobilizing the Guyanese people to give the leadership that is required to preserve our environment at home, and by extension, the regional and global environment and therefore contribute to reducing many of the ecological challenges that our world and country is now experiencing. And so my message is a call for you to ensure that the work you present stands out not only for the identification of the organization, but stands out as the collective capacity, the collective capability of the University of Guyana in giving leadership as social work students, as members and inductees to the social work profession, so that we can embrace the preservation of our human population and our corresponding social systems. I want to encourage you to use this organization as your own laboratory to test new ideas, to test new initiatives. And in drawing on those experiences, we can solidly appreciate the value and its future effectiveness as we roll this out in our professional practices and wider national and regional collaboration. I call upon you to develop capacity for research. In the University of Guyana, as part of our annual planning, there is provision to support student research initiatives. And so while you use this, or you may use this organization as a student laboratory, I assure you that the leadership of the University of Guyana stands ready to support your initiatives in ecological, social work research, and other relevant environmental or community-based interventions during your studentship. I urge you to take particular note of this commitment so that by the time you come to your graduation, you are not only reflecting your achievements as a learner, but you are also in a position to reflect your achievements at the University of Guyana as someone who has outputted relevant research undertakings, relevant community interventions that shows that UG and its social work students in particular and members of faculty are in the forefront of ecological management, ecological social work, and global human preservation. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Andrew Hicks. For those of us who are now joining, we just heard from the University of Guyana's head of Department of Sociology, Mr. Andrew Hicks, who gave his insightful remarks. Distinguished attendees, we ask that you kindly indulge in the remaining of the program in light of the slight delay in commencing. At this time, we would like to hear from the president of SSWAG, Ms. Shania Baird, to give her overview, introduce the SSWAG body, and direct us to the unveiling of the banner. Ms. Shania Baird is a final year social work student at the University of Guyana and is the president of the University of Guyana's Student Social Work Association, Guyana. Presently, she is a counselor attached to ChildLink Inc.'s Child Advocacy Center in Region Number 3. Ms. Baird has founded the Beehive Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization that is currently based in Sophia and provides non-perishable food items to families. She has an interest in social work-related research and enjoys reading, writing, and performing poetry. Ms. Shania Baird, the floor is now open for you to give your overview.
All protocols having been established, good morning all. It is a privilege to be granted the opportunity not only to be present at this historical event, but to be a part of the formation of the University of Guyana Student Social Work Association Guyana and its executive committee. Studying social work at the University of Guyana is a rite of passage, one which can birth beautiful things. One suggestion by Ms. Stephanie Crandon and supported by other key students such as Ms. Shidella Hodge, Noria Macaulay, among other students in the DSW 1201 Introduction to Social Work class of 2019-2020, ignited a passion in the current third-year students, who were at the time first-year students, to see the social work profession held in higher esteem and practiced with pride. However, this idea was shelved as Guyana encountered unprecedented challenges with the advent of COVID-19. On the 10th of May 2021, discussions ensued between the Minister of Human Services and Social Security, the Honorable Dr. Vindhya Prasad, and representatives of the Department of Sociology Social Work Unit, where the idea of a Student Social Work Association surfaced again. Another discussion held on the 9th of June 2021 involved the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, UNICEF, and Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Professor Mohammed Martin and her team. The discussion centered on social work programs and workforce enhancement. Again, the idea of the formation of a Student Social Work Association was emphasized. To ensure the target population inclusivity and buy-in, consultations held during the Master of Social Work review were to ensure the target population inclusivity and buy-in, consultations were held during the Masters of Social Work Review, which was held on the 25th and the 26th of August 2021. The launch of the Student Social Work Association Guyana is therefore an outcome of these discussions, the unanimous voice of students approving its formation, and the mandate from the Office of the Vice Chancellor, PACE, to the Department of Sociology Social Work to make this a reality. As part of the DSW 4104 community practice course, students were allowed to propose a project or they were assigned one. Fortunately for my group, we were assigned this task by the very lecturer in whose DSW 1201 class, the idea to form a Student Social Work Association was birthed. Of course, we were excited because as social workers, we saw the need to ensure that what we do and what we stand for as a profession is clear. So together with the third-year students and with support from our lecturers, from UNICEF, PACE, and the ministry, we have pooled our synergies, and today, 2 years later, we are witnessing the launch of the University of Guyana's Student Social Work Association. The University of Guyana Student Social Work Association Guyana honors and appreciates the diversity among its members. There is room for the beliefs and differences of all, as represented by the multicolored clip art figures in our logo. We are passionate and we are committed to the University of Guyana and its social work students. This is expressed in the heart that borders UG in our logo. We intend to improve the time spent at the University of Guyana so that when a student leaves, they're able to make a bigger impact on our society, as reflected in our vision statement, to become a model social work student through supporting students, encouraging academic excellence, and promoting social work standards. By doing this, we are able to fulfill our motto, creating social change now. We are taking the necessary steps to improve our profession through the fulfillment of our mission statement to produce cadres of social work students who are committed to excellence and professional practice. This will be achieved through promoting social work standards, as in the National Association of Social Work Code of Ethics, facilitation of interactions between students, faculty, and university administrators, as well as other social work networks. The purpose of the Student Social Work Association Guyana is to establish an environment that will foster greater student engagement at the University of Guyana, build students' awareness of local, regional, and international best practices in the field of social work, enhance the capabilities of students, and provide support where necessary to improve their holistic well-being, in particular, students who are disadvantaged or have special needs. I am honored to say that serving alongside me on the University of Guyana Student Social Work Association Committee is a dedicated and hardworking executive committee. These committee members include our Vice President, Mr. Della Hodge, our Treasurer, Ms. Rachel Matthias, our Secretary, Ms. Cheyenne Moore, our Assistant Secretary Treasurer, Ms. Rihanna Thomas, our Public Relations Officer, Ms. Stacy Glenn, our Administrator, Ms. Faith Chester Innes, our Assistant Administrator, Ms. Jade David. Serving as committee members, we have Ms. Teresa Plass, Mr. Delroy Gilliams, and Ms. Amanda Ram. Serving as student advisor is Ms. Stephanie Crandon, and serving as our campus advisor is our dear Ms. Debbie Hopkinson. Our 10 representatives include Ms. Koya Haley, Mr. Noel Jondu, and Ms. Kayla Schultz. Once again, thank you all for being a part of this moment of history. We are committed to the development of social workers while they are here at the University of Guyana. It is an honor to be a part of the launch of the University of Guyana's first student association that focuses on social work students, which will ultimately impact the Guyanese society, as well as contribute to the university's 2040 blueprint and the achievement of the SDGs. Thank you once again for joining us on this webinar. Please sit back as we witness the unveiling of the University of Guyana's Student Social Work Association Guyana banner. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, we, the students of the Social Work Unit, present to you the University of Guyana's Student Social Work Association Guyana, SSWAG, the unveiling of our official banner.
Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vindaya Prasad. Vice Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohammed, University of Guyana. Members of the Senior Management Team, University of Guyana. UNICEF representative, Dr. Prawn. And our focal point person, Ms. Patricia Gittins. Deans of faculties, in particular, Dr. Paulette Henry, Faculty of Social Sciences. Heads of department, in particular, Mr. Andrew Hicks of the Department of Sociology Social Work Unit, members of the Department of Social Work Unit, special invitees, members of DEC, members of PACE, Ms. Tivia Collins, Ms. Tara Smith, and Ms. Cheryl Backus, who have been our support and technical team, members of the media, all participants and attendees present. Today I'm honored to stand before you to present once again students of the Social Work Unit who have sought to establish the Student Social Work Association Guyana at the University of Guyana. I am honored to have been asked to be the campus advisor, and so today I want you to join with me and congratulate these students before you at this inaugural, auspicious, and most historic event here today on the 19th of November. Indeed, history has been made. I want to also pay particular homage to Mrs. Thomas Holder, who has been a stalwart in the field of social work. And I know that as she gives her reflections today, we all will be proud of what we have produced at the University of Guyana. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate the Student Social Work Association of Guyana. Thank you for joining us and for being here.
What a lovely banner. And thank you, Madam President Shania Beard. You're right in saying that this association has been in the works for quite some time, and it will continue to be evolving through the years to come. Next up, we have a special song by our very own Miss Stacy Glenn, the PRO for SSWAG. Let's welcome Miss Stacy Glenn.
When I was young, I would look in the mirror. Didn't know it then, but now it couldn't be clearer. Then I remember being filled with such wonder, before learning that the world can be harsher. Who you love, or the color of your skin, or the place you were born or grew up in, shouldn't decide how you should be treated, 'cause we're all the same when everybody's breathing, waiting for a change to set us free, waiting for the day when you can be you and I can be me, waiting for hope to come around, waiting for the day when hate is lost and love is found, waiting for a change, waiting for a change. For all the brave and the souls who went before us, stand tall, be proud, and lift your voices. Let them know who we are and our choices. And one day we won't have to sing this chorus, waiting for a change to set us free, waiting for the day when you can be you and I can be me, waiting for hope to come around, waiting for the day when hate is lost and love is found, waiting for a change. We need a change. We need a change. When I was young, I would look in the mirror. Didn't know it then, but now it couldn't be clearer. I'll be that change.
My emotions are moved with the relevance of the song, and indeed the change that we have been waiting for is here, and we will indeed embrace it. Ms. Stacey Glenn, thank you for sharing one of your many talents with us today. We are pleased to have in our midst Mrs. Barbara Thomas Holder, who will be presenting to us her reflections. Mrs. Barbara Thomas Holder is currently a senior lecturer in the Department of Sociology, Social Work Unit. Ms. Holder has conducted research in migration, deportees, mangrove restoration, on-time program completion, teenage pregnancy, school dropouts, among others. She has maintained her interest in social and psychosocial issues. She has also coordinated and implemented numerous training programs on personal, professional, and community development. Teaching social work has left a most indelible impact on her life and her hundreds of students whose careers she has impacted have taught her humility, compassion, tolerance, patience, sensitivity, and how to care unconditionally. Imparting knowledge and skills to others has not only helped her students to develop requisite competencies, but also has helped her to become a better person. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite to the virtual podium Mrs. Barbara Thomas Holder to give her reflections at this time.
Thank you very much for your warm words of introduction. This morning, I'm feeling good. On top of the world. A blessed good morning to everyone. All protocols are observed. I'd like to join in extending Happy International Men's Day to all our men, and to ask the UNICEF representative and our stakeholder ministries to assist us in having some affirmative action taken, you know, to have more males join our social work program at the University of Guyana, and by extension, the social work profession. There is a lot of work for males in social work. Wow, love the banner. We are indeed multi-talented, and we will be that change. I would really like to congratulate the minds that brought this idea into full fruition. This is really commendable, and I would like to extend my very best wishes to this newest organization body on campus, the University of Guyana's Students Social Work Association Guyana, SSWAG. Make us proud as you aspire to assist freshmen and women in social work to adjust to life on campus. Truly historic moment. Sharing reflections brought me back to my own life as a student on this campus during 1982-87, inclusive of my 1 year of national service. Wouldn't forget that. My first assignment on campus earned me an A, and that set the stage for my performance. even though I got a C as a final grade in an easy course in the arts faculty. Do not take your courses for granted. Some classmates and I formed a study group, and we were extremely focused and hardworking. Some Sundays also found us on campus, especially when a most feared QMS test was coming up. You see, quantitative methods in social sciences was compulsory for all social science students. And whichever student failed carried that lone course the following academic year. That means 3 long terms. Real punishment. Yet, some students messed with it. I recall food items were scarce, some banned, and many of us survived campus life on cheap soup and non-flour items at the cafeteria. Those were the days when I carried my bag of 3 containers with wheat flour, puri, buns, and salara, sold out daily. And that helped me with my financial needs as a young mother with 3 children, including a 3-month baby. When I started classes at the University of Guyana in September of that year, I was still finishing off Petrillo Labor College, which would have ended in November of the very year, and teaching at Bladen Hall Multilateral School. If that was not enough, the father of my children became an unemployed full-time university student. My student life was about humility, commitment, hard work, integrity, sacrifice, responsibility, determination, discipline, and more. Nonetheless, my classroom participation, my forever presence in class, prompt submission of assignments, and a high level of family support saw me graduate at the top of my class. Of course, I had many but God moments. University life is about navigating challenges. It demands a certain type of attitude and behavior for success. We must listen, we must read, we must understand, we must question, we must study and take good care to create a balance that works for each of us. You know that's going to be different. Until now, I still hear the voice of Mr. Berkeley Strode admonishing my class to stop writing and listen. There was good wisdom in that. If you don't listen, you can't hear nor understand to make sense of what you write. I can also still hear Miss Stella Odiali bellowing in frustration to my tutorial class. Students, you have to read for your diplomas and degrees. You do not want to leave the University of Guyana with diplomas and degrees. Those words were big motivation for me. Library books were always in my school bag, and I read wherever the opportunity was presented, even in uncomfortable places. Know your purpose at the University of Guyana and strive to achieve it. After my student tenure, It did not take me very long to return to the University of Guyana as a lecturer in 1989. Thanks to Professor Kenford Dans, who told me that I had the ability and disposition to teach adult learners, and who was very instrumental in my appointment. Thank you, Kenford. I can whisper to you that it was not about the salary, and still it is not about that, but rather a passion for imparting knowledge and having reciprocal impact on students. I feel rewarded just to observe our students as they conduct their practicum with creativity, innovation, competence, and professionalism. Hats off to you, students. I am more elated, however, when they utilize their classroom knowledge and skills to respond and recognize gaps in the welfare service and to establish their own social service agencies and small businesses. Be less dependent on government. Again, I raise my hats to you guys. It is also very pleasing when they excel at other universities and report that, Miss Barbara, I heard your voice when I was writing my exam. Or I told them we were taught that at the University of Guyana. Wow, big moment. Although I taught sociology in my early years, teaching social work has had a most indelible impact on my life. Again, the hundreds of students whose lives and careers I have mentored, who I have taught, whose lives I have touched, would have taught me a lot. Humility, sensitivity, compassion, respect for differences, tolerance, patience, and to care unconditionally. Yes, I enjoy teaching my students and proudly watching them grow and rise to prominence as managers, permanent secretaries, ministers of government, coordinators, heads of departments, directors, assistant dean, and dean. I have watched them find employment, fall in and out of love, get married, start families, return to work with me in the faculty, while others regrettably passed on. May their souls rest in peace. At the University of Guyana, where I enjoy working for almost half my life, I have established beautiful, lifelong friendships and connections. I am still learning from the best administrators about university policies and regulations. I have exposed students to international social work. I have coordinated the Women's Studies unit, coordinated the social work unit, headed the Department of Sociology, and acted as director of the Institute of Distance and Continuing Education. I've listened to some of my students deliver the valedictorian address. Big moment for me. And saw many more competing for top prizes at graduation. My dear students, who have grown in so many ways. I am really proud to have been part of your education process at the University of Guyana. Thanks to my colleagues who saw more in me than I saw in myself, observed, or that I would have observed in me. Hence, as a senior lecturer, I owe my gratitude to Professor Paloma Mohammed, who as dean encouraged me to submit my work for assessment, even when I was reluctant. Thank you, VC Mohammed, for your encouragement and support. While university life has its own challenges, many good lessons were learned. And among them are, I have learned that loopholes exist in all systems and at the university. It takes the students to find them first. I have learned that life must be lived and savored, even though challenges will come. I have learned that all problems can be solved either individually or collectively. I have learned to value teamwork. I've had beautiful experiences within the Department of Sociology, within the Faculty of Social Sciences, and my own social work unit. We have worked on so many projects. We have worked on a major international conference. We have done well sitting and putting heads together to make a difference in the social work program. I'm grateful for the experience. I have learned that many students join the social work program to solve their own personal problems. And I believe that there is need for an institutional system to prevent them from being hurt healers. We don't want you to go into the practice environment carrying your own personal burden and finding it difficult to help clients who come to you with similar problems. I'm looking forward to this new association, this new body, to give guidance and assistance in helping to resolve some of the personal issues and problems that students join the social work program with. I have learned to accept that good family and institutional support can enable successful program completion. I have learned that a sound university education requires commitment, sacrifice, discipline, support, and more. I have learned that university is truly a microcosm of society with all its complexities, diversities, joys, pains. But I will always love the University of Guyana. Our students continue to be good ambassadors of the social work program at the University of Guyana and the noble social work profession. Remain professionals and be the best that you can be. I'm truly grateful that this discourse to establish a body on campus that will assist our first year freshmen and women to adjust to university life has finally taken place. I recall when we had this discourse, a serious discussion in the classroom of DSW 1102. And I'm glad that you were able to let it materialize. Thank you, Ms. Debbie Hopkinson, for challenging our students and making it happen. Thank you, University of Guyana Social Work Student Association, SSWAG, for requesting that I share my reflection, which was mainly a pleasant journey. Hearty congratulations and best wishes once again. God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barbara Thomas Holder. That really was an emotional speech for a lot of us. And I know you have touched so many lives, including mine, and you will continue to touch so many more and have such an impact on everyone you teach in the past and in the future. That is why SSWAG looks forward to working with you and the new students that come into our association moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, as we wind down with our program, we just have a few items left. I would just like to remind our panelists to wait for the end of our program so we can have a group photo with everyone. So the next item on our list is a song by one of our representatives from Tain, Miss Kayla Schultz. Let everyone have a round of applause in the chat for Miss Kayla Schultz.
Life is like a merry-go-round. You're up and then down, going in circles, trying to get to where you are. Everybody's been counting you out, but where are they now? Sitting in the same old place, just faces in the crowd. We all make mistakes. You might fall on your face, but you gotta get up. I'd rather stand tall than live on my knees, 'cause I am a conqueror and I won't accept defeat. Try telling me no. One thing about me is I am a conqueror. I am a conqueror. Got a vision that no one else sees. Lots of dirty work, roll up your sleeves. Remember, there's a war out there, so come prepared to fight. You never know where the road leads you. Not everyone's gonna believe you. And even if they're wrong, don't prove them right. I'd rather stand tall than live on my knees, 'cause I am a conqueror and I won't accept defeat. Try telling me no. One thing about me is that I am a conqueror. I am a conqueror. Oh.
Thank you very much, Tain Representative Ms. Kayla Schultz, for availing your talent with us on this forum. One of the lines in your song spoke to having a vision that no one else sees. And we, the SSWAG Executive Committee, indeed, we have a vision, and we are sure that it is going to come to fruition as we embark on this new initiative. With us today is Dr. Paulette Henry, who will be giving us the closing remarks. Dr. Paulette Henry is the Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Guyana. She has a career in professional social work practice and higher education that spans more than 30 years. During this time, Dr. Henry has made significant contributions in the areas of teaching, research, and child protection. Dr. Henry obtained her undergraduate and master's degree from the University of Guyana and her doctoral degree from the University of the West Indies, where she focused on leadership and higher education. Her areas of expertise center on well-being, child protection systems, organizational development, and education leadership. Dr. Henry's publications are reflective of her overarching concerns with human well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you none other than Dr. Paulette Henry to give her closing remarks at this time.
Thank you, co-chair. Good morning, colleagues. All protocols having been observed, I am pleased to join with all of the other speakers before to congratulate SWAG. And as I listen to my colleague, friend, former teacher, Barbara Thomas Hodge, I was listening to her and just smiling because what she said is so much reflective of our journey. Thank you so much, Barbara, for all that you have done for all of us. SWAG, congratulations to you. Miss Hopkinson, congratulations. You know, just thinking about where we have come in terms of SWAG, in terms of the university's leadership under Professor Mohammed and the senior university team, the continued support that we have received from international partners like UNICEF. And I reflect on our profession, social work. I want to share with you just briefly a conversation that I had very recently with a colleague. And we were talking about Nelson Mandela and South Africa when he assumed office, how he pulled social workers out of the University of Cape Town and Pretoria. And he took those social workers to develop the social policy. He took international social work scholars like Leela Patel, Mel Gray, Antoinette Labarde, and they played an instrumental role in developing the regulatory framework to help Nelson Mandela's government to reposition the image of South Africa. So think what social workers can do. Think what you, SWAG, can do. As the UNICEF representative indicated and others have said, the United Nations speak to the social work agenda and what we are all about. Every day, social workers and Vice Chancellor Mohammed capture that very well, are challenged to explain ourselves. And sometimes we need champions. But you are the champions because we are more than hampers and gift bags. No, last night in one of our Masters of Social Work classes, we were reminded that social work is grounded in social policy. And our social policy addresses those problems that people have. We have to work hand in hand to bring about the social change that SWAG hasn't spoken to. You have an opportunity through SWAG and through the teachings and everything else that goes forward to take your social work, to take your journey to that other level. And I'm really happy that we are here at the place where we can come and speak to the areas where Ms. Thomas Holder spoke to, that we see social workers positioned as permanent secretaries because they're doing development practice. We see social workers in the field of aging as forensic social workers, trauma practitioners, international social workers in the corrections. So I use this opportunity as an educator in social work, and we're several of us coming from practice to education. Many of you will eventually come because, as Barbara indicated, we were groomed and branded for good. We were brought into the university to teach. So I use this opportunity to together and to reaffirm your role. I urge you not to stay only at the micro level, but look to the policy level. You work together, Mr. Hicks indicated, our Vice Chancellor indicated, network beyond the Guyana, network locally and globally. Let people know who we are as social workers. Do not allow us to be undervalued, regardless of the pathway you choose. Even those of us who are responsible for handing out bags and giving and helping those in communities who are less fortunate, be the best one, but always know your worth. Use SWAG to strengthen your understanding of your role in changing this diverse landscape of Guyana and beyond that we live in. Educate others on our core values and principles. Be the SWAG that addresses social justice. Be the SWAG that challenges us educators to be better. To Ms. Hopkinson, once again, congratulations for leading this process. I encourage us all to work together across our campuses, across our university, and for our country. I wish us all every good success. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Paulette Henry. Those are some very meaningful words. We as social workers, we can affect change, and together we can affect as big a change as we need. So let us use SWAG, as Dr. Henry would have said, let us use SWAG to help affect as much change as we can. With the support we have from our partners and everyone around us, we can be that change. So coming down to our last item, our vote of thanks. We have our Vice President, the Vice President of SWAG, Ms. Shidella Hodge. Now, Ms. Shidella Hodge is an enthusiastic third-year social work student and the Vice President of SWAG. She is currently the representative for the third-year social work students. Ms. Hodge is passionate about realizing impactful change in Guyanese society and intends to stop at nothing in doing so. Her genuine compassion for helping others has landed her in this field, and she hopes her studies at the University of Guyana helps her achieve her dreams. Everyone, let's welcome to our virtual podium, Ms. Shidella Hodge.
Good morning, everyone. Recognizing established protocol. It is an honor to have been selected to offer the vote of thanks on this, the occasion of the launch of the University of Guyana's Student Social Work Association Guyana, SWAG. On behalf of our president, Ms. Beard, the executive and members of SWAG, I wish to extend heartfelt gratitude for the various contributions and your esteemed presence here today. Honorable Minister, Dr. Vindhya Prasad, the university, executive, and members of SWAG notes your drive to raise the standards of social work in Guyana. And I can assure you that this student association anticipates your continued support and looks forward to many other mutually beneficial joint ventures in the future. Special thanks to our 11th Vice Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohammed Martin of the University of Guyana, for her unwavering support. We do look forward for even greater things under your leadership at the university. We appreciate the Registrar, Dr. Nigel Grezandi, and Assistant Registrar, Ms. Daniela King, for their guidance throughout this process. Also, Mr. Jafar Gibbons, President of the UGSS, thank you for your input. Mr. Charles Prawn, Resident Representative of UNICEF Guyana and Suriname, we are grateful for the funding and technical support to make this launch a reality. Special thanks also to Ms. Patricia Gittins, our UNICEF focal point person to the University of Guyana, for her invaluable contributions. To our Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, Dr. Paulette Henry, Head of Department, Mr. Andrew Hicks, and all members of the Department of Sociology, Social Work Unit, We thank you for your blessings on this association as we launch into the deep. Special recognition to Ms. Thomas Holder, a veteran in the field of social work. We honor you. We know you are proud of this, and we thank you for your continued contributions to the field of social work. To Mistress Debbie Hopkinson, our campus advisor. This venture was birthed in your class during the academic year 2019-2020. You have gone above and beyond since to get us to where we are today. Please know every effort is deeply appreciated. Thank you to Ms. Halley and team, especially Ms. Kayla Schultz and Mr. Noel Jondo from our Berbice arm. To the SWAG team, I am personally previewed to the time and sacrifices, including the very late nights we were messaged by Ms. Hopkinson. We thought for one moment that she doesn't sleep, but those late nights ensured SWAG is off the ground, so thank you. Here I wish to acknowledge the work of Ms. Charissa Plas, Kayla Schultz, and Stacy Glenn for their extraordinary performances here today, and the exceptional work of Stacy Glenn on the designing of SWAG's logo. The work of Deck and Pace, especially the technical support from Cheryl Bacchus, Tivia Collins, and Tara Smith, without which we would not have been able to execute this launch with such grandeur. To all distinguished invitees, members of the media, and those in attendance, especially our current members and prospective members, thank you for being a part of this auspicious launch of the University of Guyana's Student Social Work Association, Guyana. I cannot leave without acknowledging the initial work of my colleagues from the 2019-2020 class, Ms. Julia Rankin, Ms. LaFauna Williams, and many others whom I may not be able to mention, who are passionate about this from the beginning of our time at the university. Thank you for keeping this alive. Finally, moderators, you have done a remarkable job here this morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you all.
Ms. Shidella Hodge, thank you also for your tremendous input towards this process. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of today's proceedings. We trust and know that you had a fulfilling time with us. Thank you once again for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be with us on this remarkable occasion. I wish to encourage students on this forum to sign up for membership to be a part of SWAG. The committee can be contacted via email at ugstudentsocialworkguyana@gmail.com. I would have posted it in the chat. Once again, that's ugstudentsocialworkguyana@gmail.com. A gentle reminder for the panelists to remain online for the group photograph. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, guys. Excellent job.
Welcome, Ms. Barbara.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Goodbye. Excellent program.
We're asking the panelists if we can all please put on our videos so that Pace can take our picture as a group. Thank you. Ms. Barbara, you look so lovely.
Thank you. You too, my dear Debbie.
Thank you very much, colleagues, but unfortunately, I'm not in a position to effect video, so I'll have to decline the photograph. But this has been an excellent program. I really do appreciate what we've done here.
Okay, Mr. Hicks. Thanks, everybody. All the panelists. I'm not sure. Are you seeing us?
I'm going to leave the certificate thing over here. It is a benefit, yeah. So when you insert it in, just save as PDF. Yeah.
We got it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, VC. Thank you, Mr. Hicks, Miss Dr. Paulette, Henry.
You're most welcome.
Moderators. So happy to see y'all did a wonderful, extraordinary job.
Excellent job.
Exactly.
And I noticed that they're uniformed. All of you are uniformed.
Yes, Mr. Hicks, remember our conversations?
Your professionalization.
Indeed.
Okay, goodbye, all.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye, all the best.
All the best, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye. Shania and Shidella, great job. Sharissa, Kayla, and Stacy, excellent.
Thanks, Miss.
John Doe, yes, Noel. Goodbye. Tembia. And the technical team behind the scenes. Thank you, Mr.